Hello, happy day.
Hi, Christy. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Lucia?
I'm good. Thank you.
Nice. Well, I know everybody wants us to kind of dive right in. So, can you tell us a little bit about you?
Absolutely. I'm from Mexico City. I've been living in Austin for 13 years now. I lived 2 years in Barcelona and I am a teacher. I got my certificate through the alternative certificate program, but I'm a bilingual teacher. So, yeah, that's me.
Yay. And you also do some help with kiddos on the side too, right?
Right now, I'm doing some tutoring, mainly in Spanish. I do both, but I love in Spanish. So yes, it's early childhood. Right now, my students are in preschool and first grade. No, second grade.
Nice. Yes, so you have like that really like malleable window for their little brains to kind of remember everything, right?
Yeah, I love that age. That age frame. They're so sweet, and like you say, it's you got that time frame where you can just you don't get the attitude and stuff like that.
Lovely. Yes, not yet. I feel like second grade now, maybe this is just my observation when I was in the schools. I feel like second grade, that's kind of really where it like takes off. You're like, where did your attitude come from? What is happening right now?
Great. Like, yeah, I mean, I have like in the classroom, I have experience till first grade. But like my second grade, he's very sweet, but it's like a one-on-one. So I completely agree. Second, third grade, it's like, oh, what's going on here?
Uh-huh. I feel like it's that age, like, 7 to 8 is like really when they kind of, start that a little bit.
And they have older brothers or sisters,
Oh, yeah.
because they want to do whatever the older brother or sister is doing. So it's like, no, I got this. So
Yeah, that sounds familiar too. And it's so funny to watch them like with both of their personalities too. Like, when they're each on their own versus like when they're together. At least my kiddos, like my daughter, she's a little bit, she has her personality more when she's on her own. And then when he's around, she like will try to keep up with his energy and what he's doing. And it's like, okay,
yeah,
you have to remember there's two of you and you're doing this because you're excited.
yeah, but you're absolutely right. Like on their own, they show their personality, and then when they're together, it's like a mix of both and all that. So yeah, it's like you said, it's get a lot of patience. Like
All right, so that leads me to like a question for moms at home, like trying to, wrangle their kids. Summer is coming up and they're going to be kind of like climbing the walls, doing different things. Well, I guess this is maybe a twofold question. So, first thing, like you're used to wrangling tons of kids at once. Like, what's your tip for the moms who are like, my two, three, four, however many kids I have, like, I need them to, hello, like, pay attention, or let's do this, or, come on, like, we need to leave the house or whatever. Like, what's kind of the best way to, get a group of little turkeys motivated?
that's a really good question. So in a classroom setting, it's a little different than at home because they basically they'll follow whatever the other one is doing. They're not in that at home where they are a lot more comfortable, and if they have meltdowns, they tantrums, and it's pretty common when they're at home because that's where they're their most comfortable. Let's just say it.
Right.
Um, so in at home, what I've discovered, and also in school, it's consistency and having routines, even if it's summer, but having
Mhm.
routines. Like if they're gonna wake up later, okay, wake up at I don't know, probably 8 or something, and then having those routines, it really really helps. Um, One thing that I know helps a lot with kids is having cards. You know, like, okay, you wake up and you have that card, and then you make up your bed. And like having them do chores is really, really good for them. It's it makes them more responsible. They are contributing at home. So consistency is key for them. Like if you have, you have all that, and then having those images. So, okay, I already made my bed. Now it's time for breakfast or brush my teeth or whatever. And they have a picture of that schedule kind of
Uh-huh.
thing. Really, really helps. And especially summer, that it's, the days are so long and they all long. So yeah, and they should know, okay, we have playtime, we have downtime. Maybe downtime is taking a nap. If they're not taking a nap, reading a book or playing quietly, just it's downtime. But then they have playtime, or so yeah, it boils down, I guess, to having a schedule and that consistency.
I love that. I love that. So tell me a little bit about the cards, because I think kind of like a poster or a sheet that has like a schedule, but are the cards like significant so you can kind of move them around and say, sometimes this is okay if we switch our activities, or like the card, like explain the card a little bit, because
Yeah,
people may not have really thought about it in that way, which I haven't. That's cool.
yeah, so absolutely. Like if you want to change something, like for some reason, like, also be flexible. I know we have that consistency, but we also need to know that have that flexibility. So this day is going to be a little different because we're doing this activity, or maybe you have a full day of meetings and things are changing, right? So yeah,
Mhm.
you can. I don't know if it's playtime. You have the card that showing a picture of them playing, or what I've come to find out, it's a small side note, is if the pictures have them in it, it's even better. It's playtime. You can,
Oh, that's a great idea.
there you go. Now it's playtime. And if you switch them and all that, as long as they know what's going on, that works out. You can choose that, and it's okay if it's not always the same thing. It's also important to have that flexibility and show them that flexibility. Like it's okay to be flexible and change things a little bit.
I adore that. That's a fantastic idea, because there's something that I tell my son all the time, because he's like, he can be like, there's a book. So I'm I'm saying this with caution because it's from a book. Like, this is the way that it's said in the book. Like, there's people that are called time cops. My son is a time cop. It's like, it's 8:30, we need to be doing this. It's 8:31, we're late, we need to be doing this, this and this. And I tell him, I say, Mark, we don't live our lives by the minute on the clock. So I love that same thing. Like, you can adjust, and just because this is on the schedule doesn't mean that, we can't do it a minute later or 5 minutes earlier, or, that type of thing as well. But especially, just like you said, putting their picture on that too, like, then they can really relate to it, because they're like, that's me, I'm doing that.
Exactly. And another thing is, if you don't want to do it like that time specific, because sometimes it gets like, oh, it's 8:15, you're doing it late. No, just have it as blocks. So okay, this is gonna be the block morning, and it's and then this is the afternoon block, and just doing like just not exact time, but just like
Uh-huh.
this happens after lunch, or this happens before going to bed, or so yeah, that helps. Like even bedtime routine, like okay, it's time to take a bath, or it's time to or just cool down. You can work on a puzzle or read a book or
Yeah.
what activity that just cools down.
No tech. Yeah.
uh
We don't do, at least this is in our house. That's what we say. No tech after dinner. Like, and
exactly.
it's not the 2 hours like they recommend, unfortunately, but it's still enough of a time to where they don't have the tech right before bed.
I completely agree. I know sometimes it's just difficult, and I mean, the best thing is no tech before going to sleep. So yeah, that's you know But I'm not gonna lie to you, I've been once or twice that it's like, okay, I really
Yeah.
need to fix this, I need to do this, we're gonna watch this short show and then,
Yeah.
read something. But yeah, like again, that flexibility, things changed and we just have to be flexible.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I like that you had the activities that you were talking about, and I know that some of the people who are still have their kids at home right now, and like I said, definitely for the summer as well. Like, can you give us some ideas of maybe different activities that seem to work, really well with kiddos right now? I know that maybe having some sort of like variety in there would be a good idea. Like, is art good to do like before they kind of run around outside or after, or, maybe give us a little bit of info on some ideas?
Absolutely. So my experience is more with, like I said, early childhood. So I'm going to give you activities for that age range, like
Perfect.
3 to 6, 7, 8 years old. So a lot of outdoor activities, they love it. Even if in your backyard, you can do like hunt, that you and it's not even a lot of work. You put different objects outside or have them find them, like rocks and whatnot, different objects. Like you could put those small dinosaurs or small things, so they have their
That's cute.
they go and tap and they love it. Also, like science experiments or getting the magnifying glass and watching any insect move and stuff like that. Also, sensory tables for the smaller kids.
Mhm.
They love, love, love those. You can put different things. You can put beans. You can put rice. You can put shaving cream. I
Oh, shaving cream.
have
Yes.
smaller kids, and they're learning their tracing, and they're learning everything for fine motor skills. Also, like you can put shaving cream and having traced their letters, different letters and stuff like that. Also, in that sensory table, you can put alphabet, like the alphabet letters, and have them find them and match them, even to, like, you can have a mat of those and have matched the letter they find to put it in the mat, right? Something like
Mhm.
that. Uh, so all that's game, but it's helping with literacy as well. What else? Sports and just having a ball and playing outside. Since it's summer, going outside, it's like they love it.
Yeah.
I don't, because it's very
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah. That's what I was like. Eh.
I usually do it in the morning. Like, if like, one thing you gotta know about me, it's I don't like hot weather at all. So Mexico City is pretty much the same weather all year long. Very
Uh-huh.
nice, not very hot, like
Okay.
heat. So I do all those kinds of activities in the morning. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, and if it's art, if it's gonna get messy or stuff like that, it's actually, let's just do it outside, get all messy, whatever you need, and then we'll come inside. But yeah, what else? What um, I don't know. There's so many activities that we can do, and just to keep them entertained.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, all I'm thinking is outside. Um, but no, even at home, like kids love coloring and tracing. Discovering things, science experiments. They just love them, and there's so many so simple that you can do, and they're like, so yeah, anything like
Yeah. I love that. And just like, this is not technically a science experiment, I guess, because we know what we're doing. But I feel like baking seems to be super helpful with my kiddos. They love baking because, they see you put these ingredients together and then it becomes this. And then, of course they can decorate it however they want. So it's a really good activity. Does it always all get eaten? No, but that's okay. They had an activity, they had fun with it, right?
that is awesome. Baking, I think it's great. Yeah, also cooking, and if you have a picky eater, or if you have like my daughter, she's very picky. But when we start putting her food together and all that, when she's involved, I notice that she's eating that, like she eats that better than if I just put it in there. So if you get them involved in the preparation process, they sometimes it works and they will eat it. So yeah, cooking, baking, all that, that's a great activity for them also. And you know what, I think also it's important to show them chores. Like once they're done, it's like, okay,
Yes.
bring the dishes to the sink, or things that they can do according to their age. But I think it's very important to show them that, and that they also help at home.
Yes, I 100% agree with that. Well, I know you touched on Mexico City a little bit, and you know me enough to know like how excited I am about, moms who've moved here, and just the ability for us, all to learn from others. So can you kind of, tell us a little bit about your experiences, and, what you have thought, because you've not only lived in Mexico, you've also lived somewhere else as well. So I feel like you're a fabulous person to talk to about this.
Well, yeah, it's so different. It's so different not living here from Mexico. I got here for my undergrad. I studied here. So when I college, I started in Mexico and then transferred to Austin. It
Oh,
was
okay.
so different. For me, it was a cultural shock because I came from a small university. Classrooms were like 20 students, and then getting to college here where the classrooms are like 400 students or
Yeah.
100. It was intimidating. Then the language, and then it gets to a point that I say, yeah, I have an accent, I don't care. But yeah, it was very different. Teachers have you get your syllabus, you get your office hours. It didn't used to be like this in Mexico. Now it is, but it didn't used to be that way.
Okay.
And then and then I got my master's degree in Barcelona, which was completely different as well. It was more like Mexico, smaller classrooms, you know. So uh, it was different experiences. I loved them. Living, for example, in Mexico, and here in Mexico, you need your car just like here in Texas. If you want to move somewhere, distances are very far. In Barcelona, it was just like take the subway, walk here, walk there. I love that. Also, that freedom that you can just walk wherever you want it, or just take the subway or a cab or something. It was everything so close. But yeah, and then raising kids here and in Mexico. Well, in Mexico, like my family, they're always together and they see each other very often, and they are together, all the time. And you need to do something. It's like, Mom, can you help me with the kids? Or your sister-in-law, your sister or whatever. You have people like they say it takes a village to raise your kids. So you have that village at home. Here it's a little more challenging with that because it's only my husband and I. Well, right now my sister-in-law lives here, but she's moving in August. So that's something that we have kind of struggled a little bit, having our family that far.
Yeah. And that totally makes sense. Exactly like you said. I mean, I've called on my neighbors. I'm like, I need to do that. My husband had an emergency something, and I was like, we need to go to the hospital. We need to go now. And like, can you just like, let the kids hang out with you, and I'll be back, if it's late, and, I need to put them to bed or whatever. And she was like, absolutely, sure. So yeah, I understand. Like you get into those things and you're like, I need
Yeah.
help.
We recently moved to a new community, so we haven't met our neighbors, but we have really good friends that they've helped us out and everything. But sometimes it's like, oh, I'm sorry to call you again, but will you be able,
Uh-huh.
sometimes I play, but yeah, we've found good friends, but nothing like family, that grandma's gonna be super excited to watch, her granddaughter or grandkids. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that just means that, when you go home, it's all the more special, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that I would also be curious to hear, like, what would be a little bit of some of the differences if you lived like in Mexico or lived in Spain with kids? Like, I know that like having the family to help them would be something, but what would be some of the different like day-to-day experiences that are like cultural, or that you think, okay, well, I guess I'm trying to come up with a good with a good example. Like in Mexico, something they would do every day, that like something that you grew up with, or that in America, like we haven't heard of. Like, are there any things like that you can tell us about that would maybe be different experiences?
That's a good question. So okay, so one thing, and this is when I grew up, and I always saw that, like learning when we were learning English, it's I'm going to the park. I'm going to the park. No, I didn't grow up like that. Going, it's like, oh, we're gonna go to a park. Like parks are not, at least in Mexico City, the way that they are here. And here it's where you come out after school, you go to a park, you take the kids to the park and play, and there's a lot of kids. So we would go to either my cousin's house and play there, or a friend's house and play there. So that's one thing different. And it's funny because when you're it's going, you're gonna laugh, but when you're learning English, all the books are from United States or something. It's like I'm going to the park. It's like
Uh-huh.
that, parks are as cool as here. So that's one thing.
That's
Another,
so great, though. It's very family oriented.
yes, exactly. Like you get to, yeah, it's go play with your cousins or go to your grandma's house after school and play there, or to your like I said, you see your family a lot more. So it's either after school, it's like, oh, okay, I'm going here or there. Also, we move all the time by car. Like even if it's short distances, it's not super safe, Mexico City. So you like we move in our car all the time. Whereas in Spain, it's all walking. I always tell my husband like what would have been if we had a kid in Spain and we lived in like downtown Spain where buildings are so small and old and everything. So to the point that stroller wouldn't fit in the elevator.
Oh my God. Oh, that's totally like that's a great point. So then you would have to take it up the stairs?
Yeah, or yeah. So I was like, I'm glad, or move to a place that where where the stroller fits. Um, and like I said, spaces are so small. Like apartments are very small. Like if you move a little, farther the city center, well, yeah, you get more room or space. Like if like at any place. But where we lived, everything was so like old and small, and then
Hmm.
the elevators were the ones that you had to open the door, and
Oh, the
then
like great kind of the metal. Yeah.
if you didn't close the door, then the elevator wouldn't, function. So a lot of people will just forget to close it again, and it's like, ah, no, I have to take the stairs. So that's one thing
Oh,
that I'm like, okay, I'm glad I'm not right now. Like that. We had family here. It's a lot more comfortable, or just take your kids to the car and this and that. But yeah,
yeah. Oh, that makes perfectly good sense. I think I know exactly what you're talking about, because I remember I I'm pretty sure it felt like the world's oldest elevator when I got in. It had like the little grate, it had the door and little like metal, I don't know, I'm calling it a grate. That's not the correct word, I'm sure. But I remember standing there and being like, I wonder if I stood on my suitcase, if I would feel like I'm not like so claustrophobic right now.
yeah. So yeah, our elevator at our apartment building is like if you had a suitcase and it's okay, one like it just fit two people or one person and their suitcase, and so that was interesting.
Yeah.
Like I said, the further you move, it's bigger spaces and elevators and everything. There were some buildings downtown that didn't have elevators, so it's like, oh yeah, I'm on the 7th floor, and I'm like, oh my god. And if you forgot something, it's like, no, it's staying down there. I don't care. So that was, different. That I'm like, okay, I'm glad we didn't have kids live down here.
Right there.
I think it's too much.
Yeah, understandably. Well, it's so fun that you've experienced those places, and I'm sure that you'll still travel to them, and have those same experiences and enjoy it.
Go back. We would love to go back.
One day, when things kind of, get to be a little bit more in order, right? Yeah. Well, I know that people may want to connect with you because they may be interested in tutoring. You do virtual, right?
Yes, right now we're doing it virtual.
Okay, so if somebody's interested in virtual tutoring, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, it's you have my information. I can just give it to you and contact me. I will not be doing tutoring during the summer because I'm going to have a baby exactly during the summer. But or like having anything classes, not tutoring, but classes or anything during summer.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll start probably in September, October.
Perfect.
They can contact me, and if they are interested in Spanish, even better.
Yes. Perfect. Well, thanks so much for chatting today. I enjoyed our talk.
Thank you for having me, Chrissy. I really enjoyed our talk, and good luck in the summer. If I find some activities, if I find more activities, I'll send them to you. So if you want to post them or something, I'll let you know.
Perfect. Yes, absolutely. Well, have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.